What you need is a size 6mm crochet hook, some cotton yarn, a tapestry needle, and a stitch marker. Once you have all of these materials, let's head over to the table and get started. See you soon! To make our half double crochet circle, we are going to make a slip knot and chain 3. Once you have your 3 chains, we are going to half double crochet 8 times into the very first chain that we made. So just remember, just yarn over, go into that very first chain, and pull up a loop. You should still have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, and go through all 3 loops. And we're going to work 7 more half double crochets into that last chain. And you just work over your knot while you're half double crocheting. Now we meet you back when you have 8 half double crochets. At the end of my row, I am going to count the chain 2 that I did as one of my half double crochets. So in order to join my row, I'm going to take my hook and insert it through the top of that chain 2. And it might be a little fiddly because this is the first of the row. And I'm just going to work over my tail so that I don't have to weave in the end. Then yarn over and pull through. And finish it off with the slip stitch. And that stitch might be a little tight if you are a tight crocheter. And there we are. That is the end of row 1. For our second row, we want to chain 2. Grab a stitch marker and mark the beginning of our row. And that just makes it easier to see that top chain 2. We're going to yarn over now and do a half double crochet stitch right into that same stitch where we joined. So it might be a little hard to see, but where this chain 2 comes out of, that is where you want to place your first half double crochet of the row. And just take your time getting that hook through that first stitch. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. And that chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. Now what you want to do is yarn over and half double crochet twice into the next stitch. And we are going to repeat that all the way across the row for each stitch. And you will have double the amount of stitches that you had in your first row at the end of the round. So because we did 8 half double crochets, we will have a total of 16 at the end of our row. Now we'll meet you back when we have 16. And that is half double crochet stitches. You should have just a couple more stitches to go, and those will be in the stitch previous to your false stitch. So yarn over insert your hook through that last stitch and pull up a loop. Go ahead and complete that stitch and do your last stitch in that same stitch that you did your last half double crochet. And you should have a total of 16 stitches. And it's always a good idea to go back and count the number of stitches that you have. So, because our red marker is right here in the top of the chain 2, we're going to take our hook and join that chain 2 with the slip stitch. And that finishes off row 2. Our third row is going to start off with a chain of 2. And that is going to be the same for each and every row. Once you have your chain 2, take your stitch marker and mark it at the top. And that's because we count our chain 2 as a half double crochet. Go ahead and yarn over and go into the next real stitch. And we are going to half double crochet 2 times right into that stitch. And that is going to be our pattern for this row. And at the end of the row, we should have a total of 24 half double crochets. So now that we've got our 2 half double crochets in 1 stitch, we're going to yarn over and do 1 consecutive half double crochet into the next stitch. Into the next one, we're going to repeat what we did previously and do 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And that is the repeating pattern for the rest of this row. So once you have a total of 24 stitches, I will meet you back and show you how to finish off the row. To finish the end of the row, we are going to take our hook and put 2 half double crochet stitches right into that bow stitch there. And I will bring this up to a total of 24 half double crochets. So just take your time getting those stitches through. And we're going to join the end of our row to the top of the chain 2 that we did. And if you want, you can just remove that stitch marker and move it up for the next row. You're just going to join it with the slip stitch. And I like to go under both loops to make it a little bit more sturdy. And there we go. That is the end of row 3. For row 4, we are going to repeat what we did for row 3, except we are going to add 1 more stitch in between each increased stitch. So go ahead and chain 2. We're going to place our stitch marker to mark the beginning of our round. And we are then going to half double crochet once into each of the next 2 stitches. Go ahead and insert your hook and pull the loop. And you will have a total of 3 half double crochet stitches before our increase, and that is counting our chain 2 as a half double crochet. So once you have your 3 half double crochet stitches, we're just going to yarn over and do an increase stitch. And that is doing 2 half double crochets into the same stitch. So there's our 2 half double crochet stitches, and we're going to do 3 half double crochet stitches in the next 3 stitches once. So there's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do an increase now, and that is a half double crochet stitch twice into the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2. So go ahead and repeat this pattern all the way until the end of the round. And I'll meet you then to finish it off. You are going to end the row in that false stitch again with 2 half double crochets. And that should bring you up to a total of 32 stitches. And if you want off, that's also okay. There's 2. It's not absolutely critical that you have the right number of stitches unless you're like 3 off. And you know that you must have added a stitch somewhere on accident. Once you're finished with those last couple of half double crochets, take your hook, insert it through the top of that chain 2 that you made at the beginning of the round, yarn over, and finish it off with a slip stitch. And that completes row 4. Row 5 is going to be the last row of increasing for me, but if you guys want to continue making your rows bigger, just remember that you add 1 more consecutive stitch in between each increase stitch. So just yarn over, chain 2, grab your stitch marker, and if you want you can continue marking the beginning of your row. We're going to yarn over, and we are going to do 4 half double crochets before our increase stitch. So for us, for row 5, and because this chain 2 is counting as a half double crochet, we're going to add 3. And I will bring this up to a total of 4 half double crochets before our increase stitch. So there's 2, 3, and here is our 4th half double crochet. We're just going to do 2 half double crochets into the next stitch, and that will be our increase stitch. And we are just going to repeat this pattern all the way until the end of the row. So I'll let you guys go and meet you guys at the end of the row, because I think you guys have this pattern down pretty well by now. Just remember to do 4 half double crochet stitches in between each increase. And I will see you guys soon. So your last couple of half double crochets should land in the stitch right before that false stitch that we've been working to in the previous rows. And because they land in that last stitch, we are not going to work into the false stitch, which I think is pretty nice. So there's 2. We're going to take our hook now and insert it between the top of that chain 2 that we did at the beginning of the row and close it with a slip stitch. Now if you want, you guys can continue on and make this circle as big as you like, but I am going to stop here and I'm going to snip my yarn and weave in my ends. So I hope you guys have enjoyed learning how to create a circle with me, and I hope to see you guys next week. Goodbye!